Hello everybody, this is Hollywood Joe from Hollywood's World of Sports, bringing you a special presentation on the road to Wrestlemania 31. I am here in I2I Design Studio, and before I begin today, I have to say a special thank you to all my family, friends, and followers of Hollywood's World of Sports. This has been a long time in the making. I have to give a lot of thanks to my readers over the years, and a special thanks to my production man, Jason Wise. A special shout out to two of my buddies who run wrestling discussion Facebook groups, Michael Brown of World Wrestling Junkies and Kevin Coles of WWE Apparel Universe. Both have been instrumental in giving me input on, today's show, opinions on Wrestlemania 31. So if you're on Facebook, be sure to check out both of those Facebook groups. Now I have to thank my sponsors. KDS Sports for all your fishing lure and tackles. A lot of great assortment of things. Be sure to check them out at fishkds.com. Another one of my sponsors, rodjerseys.com. For those of you who don't know about rod jerseys, they're basically fishing pole covers, and Rod Jerseys has over 100 different color schemes of different rod covers. You can pick your different favorite colors, favorite sports teams colors. Like I said, a whole assortment of color and pattern variations. Be sure to check them out at rodjerseys.com. As you all know, the road to WrestleMania starts with the Royal Rumble. This year's Royal Rumble had a lot of controversy to it. I call it the good, the bad, the ugly. The good part about the Royal Rumble was a phenomenal triple threat match for the WWE World Title between Brock Lesnar, John Cena, and Seth Rollins. Probably one of the best matches Lesnar, Cena, and Rollins will ever be in their career. The bad part was Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble. I don't want to say it's bad now, but when it happened at the time, fans were outraged. Fans were so outraged, they were picketing the arena after the show and blocking WWE superstars from leaving the arena. I think people were angry because a lot of their favorite superstars like Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, and Daniel Bryan were eliminated so quickly, and they looked very weak in the process. And me personally, as a professional wrestling fan, that bothered me as well. We move on a month later to WWE Fastlane. Fastlane was a great pay-per-view leading up to WrestleMania. We saw Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns, which was an extraordinary match. I think it really brought out the best in Roman Reigns and his abilities, and it also helped him work with somebody who's really stiff in the ring. Because as we know, Brock Lesnar does not hold anything back when he's in a professional wrestling ring. Some of the more memorable moments on Raw and SmackDown would definitely have to be Bray Wyatt, with his promos and his mind games, calling out The Undertaker, and then with The Undertaker responding with his cryptic messages with the urn and the lightning and the graphic that said the man comes around. And I really think The Undertaker is going to be in better shape and will be able to have a better match than he did last year against Brock Lesnar. The other cool part about leading up to WrestleMania 31 is the Intercontinental title picture. We have a 7-man match, a ladder match to be more specific, for the Intercontinental title, and I really love how they have been playing up to this. It's been like a hot potato with the Intercontinental Championship belt. It almost reminds me of the old hardcore 24/7 rule, where you never knew who was going to have the belt from one minute to the next. And finally, Sting. Sting has been an awesome factor in this year's WrestleMania. He's pulling out a lot of vintage stuff from when he's been when he went after the NWO and WCW. And, Sting and Triple H, I really have a feeling they're going to tear the house down. And those are just some special moments that have happened on the road to WrestleMania 31 this year. Some interesting facts about WrestleMania 31 this year is it'll be broadcasted in 170 countries in 35 different languages. You can also check it out on the WWE Network for only $9.99 a month. It's a great deal for those of you still buying pay-per-views for $60. And previously, WrestleMania has been held in California 5 different times. WrestleMania 2, WrestleMania 7, 12, 16, and 21. And my personal favorite was WrestleMania 7 for the special retirement match between the Ultimate Warrior and the Macho King, Randy Savage. And at the time, you also had Hulk Hogan taking on Sergeant Slaughter during the Iraq-Iran wars. And so WrestleMania 7 was very special to me. But it's not about WrestleMania 7 this year. It's about WrestleMania 31 and all the things leading up to it. This year's WrestleMania will be the second year in a row NXT will be featured as part of WrestleMania 31 the weekend. As most of you know by now, there's going to be a 4-man tournament on Thursday night to determine the NXT spot in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Those involved are Finn Balor, Adrian Neville, Tyler Breeze, and Hideo Itami. All 4 men have had wonderful success in NXT thus far, and I have a feeling whoever is going to win that spot to the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is going to have a special night. Also, on NXT's behalf, they will be having a live show after Access on Friday night at 10 p.m. And what's special about this is it's going to be the largest crowd they have had thus far. Most of you know NXT is filmed at Full Sail University down in Florida, and it's a very small arena, kind of like the old ECW arena, but they have sold out a 5,000 seating venue for their event, and only sold out within a few minutes. So NXT is going to garner a lot of attention this week. And if you have not checked out NXT, again, get on the WWE Network for $9.99 a month and watch NXT on Wednesdays, because you will find out that NXT is very special and it's going to be a huge part of WWE's future for many years to come. And so be looking forward to that for WrestleMania 31 and NXT's part during the weekend. The day before WrestleMania, every year, the WWE has a special ceremony known as the Hall of Fame ceremony. And over the years, there have been a lot of many wonderful and great talents and celebrities that have gone on to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. And this year is no different. We have a stellar Hall of Fame ceremony this year. The celebrity inductee is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it's great to see Arnold in the Hall of Fame because he has been associated with Bruno Sammartino over the years and has participated on numerous WWE television events, including one of the earlier episodes of SmackDown where he punched out Triple H. So it's great to see the Terminator in the WWE Hall of Fame. Next we have Tatsumi Fujinami. He was never really a part of WWE for a long time, but he did hold the old WWF International title in the late 70s and early 80s. He is most commonly known as the first ever professional wrestler to hold the NWA and IWGP heavyweight titles simultaneously. And he did that by beating the legendary fellow Hall of Famer, Nature Boy Ric Flair. One of the more interesting choices for the WWE Hall of Fame this year is Alundra Blaze. And if you don't remember Alundra Blaze, she was Medusa in WCW before and after she came to WWE. And one of the most memorable moments in the history of the Monday Night Wars was when Alundra Blaze threw the WWE Women's title in the trash on a live episode of WCW Nitro. So I'll be very interested to hear her speech on the matter. Next, we have the legendary Samoan Rikishi. And he is one of the many Samoans that have been inducted into the Hall of Fame thus far, including Yokozuna, Peter Maivia, Rocky Johnson, and the Wild Samoas, Afa and Sika. It's going to be really special to see Rikishi be inducted by his sons, Jimmy and Jay Uso, and hopefully we don't see a stink face during the Hall of Fame. One of the more surprising inductions this year are the Bushwhackers, Luke and Butch. Luke and Butch never did win the WWE Tag Team titles in their career, but they were very colorful and very entertaining in the ring. Before their time as the Bushwhackers, they were known as the Sheepherders, and they were one of the most brutal tag teams on the territorial scenes. They did win a lot of territorial championships and have a big part in the 70s and 80s eras of professional wrestling, and they do take their rightful place into the WWE Hall of Fame, and I'll be surprised if they don't do some licking and stomping around the stage. One of the more deserving Hall of Fame members this year is the living legend Larry Zbyszko. A lot of wrestling fans only might know Larry Zbyszko as a commentator on WCW Nitro during the Monday Night Wars. But Larry had a very stellar wrestling career, being Bruno Sammartino's protege. He had great matches with Bruno. He also went on to be a part of Paul Heyman's Dangerous Alliance in WCW, which also included Rick Rude, Stunning Steve Austin, and Arn Anderson. So Larry Zbyszko was a great wrestler in his time and definitely deserves this honor. Next is a very special award this year, Connor the Crusher. A lot of you know about this story because Connor was fighting pediatric cancer for most of the 9 years he was on this earth. And last year, during the Hall of Fame ceremony, the Ultimate Warrior suggested that we have an award for recognition of people that aren't in the wrestling ring, outside of the company, or maybe even people inside the company that don't get the recognition they deserve. And Connor really touched a lot of people's lives and really warmed a lot of hearts. And you can see that if you check out his Hall of Fame video that WWE put out. His induction will be presented by Dana Warrior, the widow of the Ultimate Warrior, and current WWE superstar Daniel Bryan. So it's going to be very emotional and very touching to watch. And headlining this year's event, live because he's still alive, is Big Daddy Cool Diesel. He will probably be the last person to go on, so they don't have a posthumous induction going on last. But Diesel really, really deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the first big men to ever, be in a pro wrestling ring, to enter it gracefully and have that impact, in the ring. Diesel is a one-time Intercontinental Champion, one-time WWE Heavyweight Champion, and a two-time WWE Tag Team Champion with Shawn Michaels. He went on to be a huge part of WCW and the NWO, and his place in the Hall of Fame is definitely deserved and wanted, and he deserves it very much. And it's great to see Big Daddy Cool, Too Sweet, Diesel to go into the WWE Hall of Fame. And rounding out the Hall of Fame this year is, the Macho Man, Randy Savage Diggett, is going to be in the WWE Hall of Fame, finally. And I have to say that this really legitimizes the WWE Hall of Fame. This man was just as big as a Ric Flair, just as big as a Hulk Hogan, was as colorful in the ring as anybody could ever be. And I'm finally happy to say that the Macho Man Randy Savage is going to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. I look forward to hearing what Hulk Hogan has to say during his presenter speech, and I look forward to hearing what Randy's widow and Randy's brother have to say on his behalf, because it is truly, truly many, many years in the making for this. And I have to say it again, that this Hall of Fame is going to be very special, very emotional, and very touching due to all the members that are going to be in the class of 2015. So again, check out the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony again on the WWE Network Saturday night at 10 p.m. It's going to be a great, great ceremony and a great way to get excited for WrestleMania 31. The time has come for WrestleMania 31, and this year it has a very solid, great card in front of us. On the pre-show, which you can catch on the WWE Network for $9.99 a month, there's going to be a fatal four-way tag match for the WWE Tag Team titles. It includes Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, the former champions Jimmy and Jey Usos, the Usos, the team of Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods of the New Day, and Los Matadores. And I am personally a fan favorite of Cesaro and Tyson Kidd. They're both great workhorses, great in-ring competitors, and they really remind me of the old team in WCW called the Hollywood Blondes, which consisted of Stunning Steve Austin and Flying Brian Pillman. They were both put together with no expectations and basically meant to be as a jobber tag team. And now, headed into the biggest show of the year, they are walking in as WWE Tag Team Champions. And I really hope they walk out the same. WrestleMania 31 has got a big main card in front of them. And I wouldn't be politically correct if I didn't start with the Divas match. We have a Divas Tag Team match that is going to feature AJ Lee and Paige versus the Bello Twins. And this by far is going to feature the four biggest divas on the roster. The Bello Twins are obviously a household name in WWE. Paige and AJ Lee are the two fan favorites. There's been a lot of talk lately about the movement Give Divas a Chance. Both AJ Lee and Paige have gone on to Twitter and saying, divas deserve more time, divas deserve equal pay, whereas the Bella Twins, they're just there to be the face of the Divas division. I look forward to seeing a really good match out of these four women. All four women are capable of putting on a great match, and I see AJ Lee and Paige having their WrestleMania moments. One of my favorite traditions that started last year was the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which my favorite superstar, Cesaro, won by body slamming the Big Show over the top rope. This year, we have a good chunk of competitors. It's going to be 20 men this year, and the following men have entered the Battle Royal thus far. We have The Miz, Curtis Axel, Ryback, Fandango, Adam Rose, Zack Ryder, Jack Swagger, Titus O'Neil, Darren Young, Big Show, Kane, Eric Rowan, Damien Mizdow, Sin Cara, Goldust, Heath Slater, Mark Henry, and obviously the winner of the NXT tournament, which again will be determined by Finn Balor, Tyler Breeze, Hideo Itami, and Adrian Neville. My two personal favorites for this match to win, I have to say either go to Damien Mizdow or Curtis Axel. Both have been very over with the fans. Mizdow obviously needs to break away from The Miz, and Axel has started with Axelmania. I really look forward to seeing one of those two being there at the end and cementing their place in history. The next match just came about this past week, and it's going to be the Viper Randy Orton versus Money in the Bank briefcase holder Seth Rollins. The Authority storyline has been a part of WWE for over a year and a half now, and Randy Orton has been pretty much the centerpiece of this storyline. Now that he has broken away from the Authority, I look to see him kind of taking on the anti-Authority, anti-hero role that Stone Cold Steve Austin once held. Seth Rollins, as we know, is definitely a bright spot and a big part of the future of WWE. But on the grandest stage of them all, I see Randy Orton coming away with the victory and his redemption for what Seth Rollins did to him back in November when he put him out of action for 3 months. One of the more intriguing matches that I think it's been kind of creepy. I love the creepy promos that Bray Wyatt has done at this WrestleMania season. He will be taking on the legendary Phenom, The Undertaker. And as we all know, The Undertaker lost for the very first time at WrestleMania last year when Brock Lesnar defeated him. And most of you know the backstory. Undertaker had to be brought to the hospital by Vince McMahon and was in very rough shape after last year's WrestleMania. Many people did not know if The Undertaker would return for this year's WrestleMania. But I've seen recent pictures of him. He looks in great shape, looks in great spirits. I'm really hoping The Undertaker can carry a great match. And I really look forward to seeing him get back in the win column at WrestleMania 31. As you all know, over the years, we've had issues with Russia, Soviet Union, the USSR, whatever you might want to call them. And this match, I'm calling the Rocky IV match of the WWE. John Cena going for the United States title against Rusev. I truly believe this is going to be Rusev's, test, his big match. He has performed on pay-per-views, performed on Raw and SmackDown, performed in NXT before he ever got to the main roster. But there is nothing that compares to performing on the biggest stage of them all, WrestleMania. There's going to be a huge spectacle, revolving this around this match. And at the end of the day, I do see John Cena bringing home the title that he very first won in the WWE. And I hope we bring back the United States title to the good old USA where it belongs. And I also have to mention, it kind of reminds me of my favorite WrestleMania, WrestleMania 7, when Hulk Hogan took on Sergeant Slaughter for the WWE title when Sergeant Slaughter was portraying an Iraqi sympathizer. So I kind of like the correlation there because, again, both WrestleManias are going to be held in California. The match of the night, in my opinion, is going to be the 7-man Intercontinental title ladder match featuring champion Bad News Barrett, R-Truth, Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, Luke Harper, Stardust, and Daniel Bryan. And I have to tell you, every single one of these men deserve that title. Every single one of these men are workhorses in the ring, and they know how to perform for the audience. It's going to be hard because a lot of people pushed for Daniel Bryan to be in the WWE World title picture again. But Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler also deserve their WrestleMania moments. I really have a hard time picking a winner for this, but at the end of the day, both the Intercontinental and the United States titles need to be important and legitimized again. So I'm going to go with the Yes Movement and Daniel Bryan to win the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 31. Then we have Sting versus Triple H. 14 years in the making. WCW closed down in 2001. Sting obviously went to other territories, other promotions, mainly TNA Impact Wrestling, while Triple H has went from WWE Superstar to COO of the company. And I got to tell you, Sting looks phenomenal. If you have not seen him on the road to WrestleMania thus far, you're in for a surprise. The way WWE has done his video promos, his packages, and even when he spoke last Monday on the WWE Network after Raw, you know, he's very proud that he's going into WrestleMania. He looks very excited. Triple H, you know, is a great opponent. Triple H still keeps in shape every day, you know, runs the ring, you know, works out as hard as he can. And I really, really look for Sting and Triple H to tear the house down and give us a match that we're never going to forget. And I predict that Sting's first WrestleMania will end in a major, major victory for the Icon. And now, the big one. The one that's been talked about the most. The one that has the most controversy to it. Is Brock Lesnar going back to the UFC? Has Brock Lesnar signed a WWE contract renewal? And here are my thoughts on this. Roman Reigns, you know, he's been heavily pushed. A lot of people are comparing his push to the pushes that John Cena had in the past. And Roman Reigns is a very, very hungry competitor, is a very, very great athlete. A lot of the athletes that came from football went on to be great professional wrestlers. This is my take. And people might think I'm nuts and I'm crazy, but that's me. If Brock Lesnar has signed a contract to stay with WWE, Brock Lesnar will keep the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. If Brock Lesnar has not signed a contract with WWE, he will lose the WWE World Heavyweight title to Roman Reigns. And I predict if Roman Reigns wins the WWE World Heavyweight title, Paul Heyman is going to have something to do about it. But it does not end there. After the match, there's a very good possibility we may see the first ever Money in the Bank contract cash-in at WrestleMania. People need to remember that Seth Rollins has that briefcase and wants his WrestleMania moment just like everybody else. So don't be surprised if you see two WWE World Heavyweight Championship changes at WrestleMania 31. That match rounds out the card, rounds out WrestleMania weekend, and it's going to be one heck of a show. So if you want to watch it, don't pay $60 for the one-time deal. Make sure you get on the WWE Network for $9.99 a month, and be sure to tune in to WrestleMania 31 from Santa Clara, California at Levi's Stadium. It's this Sunday, and the kickoff show starts at 5 p.m., and the pay-per-view starts at 7 p.m., so don't miss out this Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, WrestleMania has its fallouts, and a couple things to look forward to. You know, when WrestleMania 31 comes to a close this year, there's been a lot of heavy talk of, you know, Brock Lesnar versus The Rock for WrestleMania 32, Sting versus The Undertaker as well, and possibly even The Rock versus Triple H. And there's early talk that those matches are going to be formed the night after WrestleMania. Another thing to look forward to after WrestleMania 31 is if Seth Rollins did not cash in his Money in the Bank at WrestleMania 31, make sure you tune in to Raw. Because it seems like every Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, there's a cash-in or there's a big title change that happens to start moving towards the spring and the summer. And those are the things to look forward to on the WrestleMania fallout. And again, folks, this WrestleMania season has been fun to cover, been fun to talk about. It's one of the more intriguing WrestleManias we've had because it's finally building towards the future of the WWE. And again, you know, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank my sponsors as well, KDS Sporting Goods, RodJerseys.com, and I2I Studios. And again, Thank you so much for all your support, all of your reading my material, viewing my crazy home videos about sports and professional wrestling. And again, my name is Hollywood Joe Williamson from Hollywood's World of Sports, where controversy doesn't come without criticism. And you have watched a special report on WrestleMania 31. Thank you and God bless.